Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
Loud.
Oh my God.
That was awful.
Can I tell you something?
What?
Do you know this is the last Thursday show of the year?
No, yeah, you're right. We've only got 2 Mondays left.
Got 2 Mondays. We got this Monday when we will have our big state championship preview extravaganza.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. We need one more. Start thinking about who you want to be riding shotgun.
Okay.
Because I've got an idea of what I want to do next week, but it requires a third.
Okay.
So we got that, and then we will be back the Monday after state to kind of survey the wreckage.
Yeah, recap.
And then we're done.
Forever.
We're not coming back till, I think, January 7th, January 6th, whatever that Monday is.
6th.
January 6th we'll be back, so yeah. So we're just kind of counting down the days. Last night...
That'll be a bachelorette trip recap on the 6th.
Oh, wait. Is yours that weekend?
Yeah, it's the 2nd through the 5th.
Whoa. Time out.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the air 12 hours after your bachelorette party ends?
I should be. If not, something went wrong.
Well, there's a variety of things that can go wrong.
I'm either there or I'm in the jail in New Orleans. So
there's a lot that can happen.
Yeah,
that is probably the most anticipated show of the year. I think the new year at least. Welcome into the pre-show before the free show. I'm Greg. That's Ashley. Last night,
Bob's
was the annual fancy dinner for the Dave Campbell's Texas football editorial team.
Correct.
We all came together once a year. This was a tradition started by Max Thompson and myself 9 years ago.
Oh, that's wild.
I want to say 2016 was the first time we did it.
Wow. I didn't realize it'd been going that long.
We've been doing it a while. And the way, look, the real, the reasoning behind it is pretty simple, which is that the editorial team basically kills itself over the course of 3 months of football season.
Mm-hmm.
And then we say, hey, right around Christmas, we're going to need you to kill yourself one more time for 1 week. And so this is what Max and I thought was this is literally the least we can do is take you guys out to a nice dinner, have a great time. But the team has grown. I think the first time we had 5 people there. And now last night we had 13.
Yeah, it was a big group.
It was a big group. It was a good time. It was a couple of people's first Bob's dinners, including Brooke.
Yes.
So yeah, it was a good time, and it delivered once again.
They don't miss.
They don't miss.
That's a 100% fact that Bob's does not miss ever.
Here's the other thing about this, okay? And I think I bring this up every year, but it's every year it's remarkable to me. So this is a get dressed up fancy type place, right? And for example, Pickle came in her wedding makeup and hair. That is true.
That is true. Yeah, I had my my bridal hair and makeup trial yesterday, and you have to pay for the trial. So I'm like, what am I going to I've got to schedule this on a day where I can actually use that, because if not, I'm going to go home, sit on my couch and stare at Mallory Hartley and be like, tell me that I look pretty, Yeah. So I was glad that there was an opportunity to actually put that to use.
You normally look very nice at Bob's dinner.
Thank you.
You were extra dolled up last night.
Yeah, I had on about 8 gallons of makeup to cover the ugly mug.
But so we all roll in there, and it's guys wearing sport coats, guys wearing collared shirts. I think, as you can tell around here, the dress code is pretty lax.
Santa shirts.
Yeah, Santa shirts, hoodies, stuff like that. So it's nice for everybody to get dressed up. And then you get there. And you realize that for a non-zero number of people at that restaurant, it is just Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah. They just, husband or wife got home and was like, hey, do you want to go to dinner tonight?
Let's go to dinner.
Yeah, sure.
Let's go spend $400 on dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's
we literally when Brooke had asked, oh, what do y'all wear? I was like, we celebrate an opportunity to get dressed up and go have a nice dinner. And so it's an event for us.
And here's what I think I'm driving at. I think I know you give me trouble for growing up in Coppell, and you grew up in Kingsland.
Yes, very different.
They're different. But I also think that even if we were to like hit the lottery, I don't think either one of us would be doing that just on a random Wednesday night.
No.
I think that's learned...
Yeah, and for me, it takes the fun out of it. If you're just doing it all the time, like, what are you doing to celebrate? Now, maybe you're just jet setting off to some country and having a nice dinner there.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
Yeah, no, I think that it would ruin the shine if you go a lot.
I mean, I get excited to go to Chili's. You know what I mean?
You ain't got to convince me to go to Chili's.
That's fine. Anyway, it was a fun night once again with the team.
It was fun.
Had a great time. And now it's...
Now we're here.
9 days. 9-day sprint.
Strap in.
Hit the theme, Expo. Yes, y'all. From the new Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it's Texas Football Today, a program online. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all those places, or you listen to us on the podcast, which you could subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there in her booth, in her lair, wearing significantly less makeup now than she was last night.
Correct.
She's the Duchess of Dorks. Miss 305, she's Ashley Pickle.
Hi, friends. Happy Thursday.
I'm going to sneeze.
Okay. Here with a sneeze is Greg Tepper.
Rad. Today is Thursday, December 12th, 2024. It is 350 days until Thanksgiving. So, we got something going for us. 350 days. Happy birthday to... Do we have any birthdays that you know of?
No.
Happy birthday.
My cousin's birthday's tomorrow. Not chicken.
Don't care.
Her birthday is Pie Day.
Chicken's birthday is Pie Day?
Which is also Dave Campbell's birthday.
I did know that.
3/14.
She's the perfect woman.
I know.
Happy birthday to... today would have been the 101st birthday of Bob Barker. Happy 101st birthday to Bob Barker.
Yeah, that rocks.
A king. It's episode 1823.
Mm-hmm.
Cash it. On today's show, folks, we're moving things around a little bit because, well, off the top, we're going to talk with Craig Way, the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer, about all things football across the Lone Star State, including the big semifinal weekend. Then, the picks, a very brief look at all 20 UIL Texas High School Football State semifinals this week. Brief. Don't check the timestamp. Brief. We'll have that. And then, back by popular demand, we figure dust off the old mailbag. That's right. If you've got questions about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, get them in the comments, Facebook and YouTube. We'll do a decent number of them at the end of the show. So we will have Mailbag Thursday coming up here at the back half of the program. So get those questions in on Facebook and YouTube. I'll be happy to discuss a number of them at the end of this program. So, pot right?
Yeah.
Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was TJ Hudson, Jerry Massey, Big Jiggly Water Balloons, and Tony Blaylock. Welcome in, fellas.
Welcome in, friends. We do appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with us. And what better way to kick off semifinal Thursday and semifinal week than by bringing in the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer, the voice of the Texas Longhorns. You can hear him on the Craig Way Show on AM 1300 The Zone. In Austin, he is our buddy, Craig Way. Mr. Way, how are you today?
I'm good. Did I just hear you say that you are offering lifestyle and romance advice?
Yeah. We're a multi-talented show, and I feel like Pickle especially, she's getting married and all. She's an expert in romance.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's the kind of thing that really is in her wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, have you guys revealed how this nuptial ceremony is going to unfold and the participants and all of that?
We've talked a little bit about it, but as a for a refresh, every podcast is somebody's first. Pickle is getting married in January. You're going to be there, right? Correct.
I will not. I will be in Gainesville, Florida, doing basketball, but the family will be represented.
Okay.
Mrs. Way will be there.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. You're the second most important way, anyway. But then
Yes.
Mallory Hartley will be the maid of honor, and I'm gonna be the officiant. So I'll be.
You just kind of glossed over that part there.
Yeah.
That for folks who don't know, Greg Tepper is marrying Ashley Pickle to her betrothed.
Correct.
He is performing the ceremony. He's the officiant. He's the guy that says, "I now pronounce you man and wife."
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a
That's pretty
grave mistake.
Yeah. You guys didn't really think that through.
I'm wondering about that, Pickle. Wondering about you.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of regret.
He's Craig. It is beyond. Before we get to January and wedding season, we've got some football to talk about, and I want to start with your day job with the Texas Longhorns there, who obviously came up just short in the SEC championship game, and yet land in the 5 seed there and take on Clemson next Saturday at down there at DKR. I am curious what the overall feel among the Texas faithful is about their how the dust ended up settling after the SEC championship game.
Well, sometimes we always say, if I had $1 for every time somebody said, and then fill in the blank. Mm-hmm. If I had $1 over these past few days, every time I heard somebody use these words, these exact words, quote, "I like our path," end quote. That's what I've heard that a lot from a lot of different fans and other people, other media, and all that other kind of stuff talking about Texas, because the path obviously is against 2 automatic qualifiers who, had they not won their respective conference championships, would not be in the field of 12. Good football teams, but not at the top of the 12-tier echelon of the college football playoff. So with a home game against Clemson, would they have rather had the bye? Absolutely. It's another week and a half of rest for the guys. But with them unable to pull that off, Clemson, a home game, and then if they win, then it's on to the Peach Bowl in Atlanta to take on Arizona State. Good football teams, but teams that the Longhorns probably feel they have a decent shot to beat if they play their game.
And actually, a decent transition from one to the other would be that perhaps the big downside of not having a bye is the gentleman we're talking to right now, Craig Way, because there is no bye week, because they will be playing next Saturday. That is, of course, Texas High School Football State Championship Saturday, where you are a mainstay and a staple on the call, especially of those 6A games. So I'm curious where your head is at on, yes, you have to miss the 6A championship games, but also you are calling a college football playoff. I'm curious how you've kind of settled that in your head.
That's kind of the deal when you get to the Christmas dinner and you say, are you having the turkey or are you having the ham? But you're not allowed to have both. Yeah. And you're like, oh, man, I really wanted to have the ham, but I'll have the turkey. Or I really wanted to have the turkey. It's kind of like that. It's going to be a little weird for me because it'll be the first time. I had to go back and look. It'll be the first time that I will have missed a 6A state championship or state's highest classification championship game call in 14 years.
Oh, wow.
So that's a little strange for me in missing out on both the 6As, but duty does call, and I'll have to, like you say, the day job, Texas and Clemson, and I am excited about that, calling one of the first ever college football playoff 12-team bracket games. So that's cool, and it's a home game, which is cool. And by the way, that helps me on the front side of that, because even though I won't be doing the 6As, I'm still doing 6 of the 12 games, including 2 with you, my friend. The 2A Division II game on Wednesday night, that'll complete a triple header for me, including the 2 6-man title games. And then we get 3A Division I together on Thursday night, and then I've got 4A Division I Friday afternoon and 5A Division II Friday night. So I'm still heavily engaged in it, calling 6 of the 12 games. So I'm pretty excited about all of that. And then even though I've got the game down here on Saturday, I will motor my way back up there for me and you and Aaron Hardigan to do the final high school scoreboard of the season on Sunday morning. So so there's still a lot involved there, even though I can't call the 2 6A games.
He's Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer. Joins us every Thursday here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag TF Today. All right, Craig, it's on to the state semifinals. And the game I want to start with is the game that you and I are actually going to be on the call there on FanDuel Sports Network Southwest on Saturday afternoon, where we get, for the 4th time in 5 years, Galena Park Northshore taking on Austin Westlake in a state semifinal. I know you and I have been getting ready, been doing the prep and stuff like that. The thing that stands out to me, and I just want to get your gut check on this, the thing that stands out to me, this feels like a box office matchup between one of the finest offensive minds in Texas high school football in Willie Gaston and one of the finest defensive minds in Texas high school football in Tony Salazar there at Westlake.
Yep, it's we were communicating with our producer Mike Leary about this. I see this clearly as unstoppable force against a movable object. And it's kind of weird to say that about Westlake, because they've had such explosive offenses in the past. And it's not to say they don't have explosivity. They do. Reese Weiss is a really solid quarterback, and they've got receivers, and they've got backs, and but they do it by the sum of the parts on the offensive side. Where they make their hay is on the defense. And Elliot Shopper is that head-hunting linebacker on the defensive side. And, with him having a zero in on Caleb Bailey and Hardiman and all the rest of that offense for North Shore, that's the box office part of it. That's the fun part of it. Which team? I don't think either team will give up. The question is which team might give in a little, and I think that helps determine that game on Saturday in Katy.
And then you take a look at the 20 Texas high school ball state semifinals this weekend. And I'll give you a choice. You gave me a similar question on your show on Tuesday, but I'll give you a similar question. I'm going to give you 3 different teams that I think can claim that nobody believed in us, that they were going to be here. And which of them is the biggest surprise to you? Is it in 4A Division I Canyon West Plains? Is it I'll stay in 4A Division I, is it La Vernia? Or is it perhaps in 2A Division I, the Rams of Joaquin?
Yeah. All of those. And Joaquin was a 4th place finisher, but it was in a really good district. So, that you'd say, okay, well, they sharpen their teeth for the postseason, and it's been a great run for them. But for me, I think it's got to be West Plains, because they take down one of the most prolific 4A programs, one of the most prolific programs regardless of classification in the history of the game in Stephenville. And for them to do that is an absolute stunner. I think we're also kind of, eyebrow raised on that, because let's be honest, other than the real lower classifications, we don't see a lot of upper classification panhandle representation. There was Tascosa a year or two ago. You had a little bit of that, but there's not an awful lot of it once you get to the Final Four. And to see a 3rd-year program be able to do that, a youthful program get to there and to take out Stephenville along the way, I think that speaks volumes, and a great run for them.
All right, Craig, it's the last time we do the meanest thing we do to each other each year, each week. I will give you 3 games of the 20 this week. I'll do 3 different classifications. You tell me which one you could teleport to if you were available. I will leave out the game we're calling. Would you go 7 o'clock Saturday night at McLean Stadium in Waco as Humble Summer Creek takes on Austin Vandergrift? Would you go to 7 o'clock Friday night on the campus of SMU, Argyle and South Oak Cliff? Or would you go 4 o'clock Friday afternoon in Abilene for Gunner and Wall? Which of those games are you teleporting to?
Rather mean of you.
I know. He gets meaner each week, too.
Yeah. The first knee-jerk thing is for me to say Argyle South Oak Cliff, because I know it is that close. And they played a couple of years ago, I guess, when Sock won in that Fog Bowl down in Crowley in the semifinal. But I've got to lean toward Wall and Gunter, because I think I'm in the same boat with you. Mm-hmm. It's a prove-it-to-me game for Wall, and Wall has been really solid over the years. But Gunter is Gunter. It's like when Pete Gillen, the basketball commentator, used to talk about, dude, Duke is Duke, he used to say. Gunter is Gunter. Can Wall find a way? They do it differently than Wall teams of the past, and Gunter has been such a machine, but Wall may have enough defense to hang with the Tigers. I'd like to see it anyway. I don't know if they can pull it off, but I think it'll be a good game, and that would be my choice.
He's Craig Way. He's the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer, the host of the Craig Way Show on AM 1300 The Zone in Austin, and, of course, the co-host of High School Scoreboard Live. Coming up, making his glorious return on Saturday night, but that will be after he and I are on the call 2 o'clock for Northshore and Westlake on that very network. Craig, appreciate your time, my friend, and I will see you in about 48 hours.
Yeah, it sounds good. Pickle, you and I need to have a talk about this wedding thing, and your staffing of it, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I deserve that.
That's fine. Thanks, Craig.
Bye, Craig.
All right, see ya.
There he goes, Craig Way, the Texas Hall of Famer. Joins us every Thursday. His final visit, I think.
Thursdays.
We could maybe have him on after the state championship games. We wanted to. Make a Munways.
No, that doesn't work.
It doesn't work. We'll just have Craig Way on Monday. Anyway, we appreciate his time, as always. We are Texas Football Today. We're here Monday and Thursday on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at TCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. A reminder, we're having Mailbag answering your questions at the end of the show. So if you got questions, get them in the comments, Facebook and YouTube. We'll pull them off. We'll answer a few of them rapid fire here at the end of the show, so make sure you get those questions in there. And become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. How many semifinals we got on Texan Live this week?
3.
3 semifinals. Mm-hmm. You can watch Texas high school football action live on your device. By becoming a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber, it gets you access to Dave Campbell's Texan Live. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. I'll tell you what, before we go there, you want to pay some bills? Mm-hmm. Coming up here in a moment, a brief look at all 20 Texas High School Ball State semifinals. But first, a word from these partners.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
30-yard line, the 20, the 10, touchdown!
Hey DFW residents, get your grocery essentials in minutes, not hours or days, with Wing Drone Delivery. Forget about last-minute trips to the store when you need things like cereal for breakfast before school, medicine for a cold, or snacks for a movie night. Wing's drones get you quick, no-contact delivery in as fast as 15 minutes. Say goodbye to last-minute grocery runs and say hello to more of your valuable time. Sign up today.
Texas coaches, Coach Brackle here from First Down Playbook. After 25 years as a Texas high school football coach, I understand the time, energy, and commitment it takes to compete at your level. First Down Playbook was created by coaches for coaches to help you vertically line your total program. 1 week free team membership for all Texas high school and college coaches. Let First Down Playbook help give you that winning edge.
Back here on Texas Football Today, I'm Greg, that's Ashley. There are 20 UIL Texas High School Football State semifinals this week, and I decided to talk about each and every one of them. It's a very, very brief video. It's a very brief, just instant video, so if you blink, you might miss it. In any case, here are my predictions for all 20 UIL Texas High Football State semifinal games this week in the picks.
20 games, 20 dreams to be realized, 20 hearts to be broken. It's the 2024 Texas High School Football State Semifinals, and these are the picks. Welcome into the picks, your guide to the Texas High School Football Playoffs. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we've reached the precipice here, right? We are now in the state semifinals, and 40 teams across the state are 48 minutes away from punching their ticket to AT&T Stadium in Arlington and etching their name in Texas high school football history. By the way, that doesn't count the 4 teams that have already punched their tickets in the 6-man ranks. Congratulations in 1A Division II to the Jayton Jaybirds and the Oakwood Panthers, who will face off in the 1A Division II state championship game next Wednesday. And congratulations to the Whiteface Antelopes and the Gordon Longhorns, who will play in the 1A Division I state championship game next Wednesday as well. They are going to take a long week off to get ready for that big game, but there are 20 more tickets to punch to Arlington, and I think I hate this week. I've been doing this long enough that I think I've realized that the state semifinals just gives me anxiety, because all of these teams have worked so hard to get to this moment, and it's right there, right? AT&T Stadium is right there, and for 20 teams, they're gonna do it, and they're gonna play in a state championship game, and no matter what happens there, they're gonna live forever in Texas high school football history as a team that played in a state championship game. But there's 20 other teams, they're gonna come agonizingly close and come up just short. And that, as I get older, that hurts my heart more and more. It is a massive slate of games. We'll cover all 20 of them on this very brief video. Do not check the timestamp. We start in Childress. 7 o'clock Thursday night at Fair Park Stadium in Childress. It's a 2A Division II state semifinal between the Munster Hornets and the Groover Greyhounds. And Groover, the lone undefeated team left in 2A Division II, and everything about them is just real impressive. Everything about them. They're rock solid across the board. The defense has been very strong. They forced 34 turnovers this season, and they can beat you in a variety of different ways offensively. Quarterback Brick Satterfield has been very strong, and their running back Walker Maupin has been excellent as well. My concern for Groover is that I wonder about their strength of schedule. Their opponents are combined 72 and 74 on the season, and Munster's coming to town, and this team is dangerous. They just got done beating Albany and Collinsville in consecutive weeks by a combined score of 110 to 28. That is serious business there. And it all starts with quarterback Kason Carney, a true dual threat superstar who has emerged as one of the best players in 2A Division II. And by the way, their defense is not just nasty, they are peaking right now. In the end, I look at this and I think that Munster has probably seen a team like Groover this year. I am not sure Groover's seen a team like Munster, and that's where I think the difference is. I think Munster's more battle tested. I think the Hornets move on to the state championship game. 7 o'clock Thursday night at Cy-Fair FCU Stadium in Cypress. It is a 2A Division II state semifinal between the Bremond Tigers and the Shiner Comanches. How about Bremond back into a state semifinal? You know, when Mart crashed out of the playoffs in the area round, I think a lot of us looked around and said, well, who's going to win Region 3? And Bremond stepped up to the plate in a big way, and last week, I think, was proof of just how far they've come. You remember in non-district, they lost to Grapeland by double digits. And then they go and whomp them in the regional final to earn a spot in the state semifinal. And I think that they are a classic case of a very young team that is getting better as the season goes on. They've got a freshman quarterback in Sam Kozowski. They've got an outstanding junior wide receiver in Tristan Moorhead. And they've got a freshman, Caden Scott, leading the way on the defense. They are young, but they are hungry, and they're playing really well and getting better and better each week. They will need to be great this week against Shiner, who I think boasts pound for pound perhaps the most impressive defense in Texas high school football. Their defense is relentless. They're coming off of an absolute smooshing of Junction last week. Jake Semper has led this defense to new heights, and the Comanches are playing complementary football. Quarterback Carson Schutte and their running back Quincy Jones are running it on, grinding it out on the ground, and keep giving that defense an opportunity to fly around. This is a fascinating ball game, and I think that Bremon's got a great shot in this because of the growth that we have seen. But the way that this is going to work is for Bremont to get into the 30s. I think they've got to get into if they get to 31 points, I think Bremon's got a great shot to win this ball game. I'm just not sure Shiner's defense lets it get there. I think this game is really interesting, but I think Shiner is heading for Arlington. 7 o'clock Thursday night at Ram Stadium in Mineral Wells. It is a 2A Division I state semifinal between the Stanford Bulldogs and the Hamilton Bulldogs. And this is one of only 2 matchups of unbeatens in the state semifinals this week. And it's kind of a team that we expected to be here against a kind of a Cinderella story. Hamilton is into the state semifinals, and what an unbelievable story for Ryan Marowitz's ball club to get here. Winners of Region 2 in remarkable fashion with a 2-point conversion late against Axtell to punch their ticket here. And I love the way this team plays, right? They've got a couple of playmakers, Jackson Edwards and Isaac Wood, that they really lean on to get the job done. But a lot of this comes down to their defense, which holds them in games while the offense kind of cracks the safe and finds a way through. This Hamilton team, everything's coming up Hamilton right now. Like, everything is working for the Bulldogs. There's a real team of destiny feel for this Hamilton squad. But I think they're running into a team that is a different animal, okay? Stanford is the real deal, coming off of an absolute mollywhopping of Post in the regional final, an undefeated Post ball club, mind you. And what you see from this ball club is awfully impressive. Caston Vega is the guy on both sides of the ball. You add in Christian Duran, their quarterback, and they can beat you in a variety of different ways. In the end, I just think Region 1's stronger than Region 2, and I think that's just the bottom line of it. We've thought that Region 1 was a little bit more treacherous, and Stanford has walked that path. I think if Hamilton's defense can continue their magic and hold this down into a low-scoring slugfest, keep it under about 24 points, I think they've got a shot. But in the end, I think Stanford's your favorite. I think Stanford is heading for Arlington. 7 o'clock Thursday night at Woodforest Bank Stadium in Shenandoah. It is a 2A Division I state semifinal between the Ganado Indians and the Joaquin Rams. Joaquin? 4th place Joaquin, a team that finished 4th in their district. They played a district champion in the first round of the playoffs. They're in a state semifinal after stunning Honeygrove last week. Absolutely remarkable. The DCTF computer, which has computer projections for every game, has projected Joaquin to lose each of their last 6 ball games. 6! And yet here they are, 48 minutes away from playing for a state championship. And what can you say about running back Elijah Hardison, who has been just a moose for them, running the ball over 2,000 yards. He was spectacular in their regional final win over Honeygrove, and I think their defense for Joaquin played their best game of the year last week. They will need to be even better this week against Ganado, which looks the part of a state championship contender in a lot of different ways, especially on the defensive side. Landon Hicks leads this defense that has allowed just 35 points in their last 3 playoff games, including stymieing Marlin last week. That was a high-powered Marlin attack, and they held them down in a big-time way. And then that offense, which is really starting to hum, quarterback Bryce Ullman and running back Logan Burris, they are playing exceptional right now. I hate to pick against a Cinderella, right? Because there's something special brewing in Joaquin. But I think Ganado looks the part, and I think that's the team to beat in this ball game. I think this game is really interesting, but I think Ganado punches their ticket to AT&T. 4 o'clock Friday afternoon at Wildcat Stadium in Abilene. It's a 3A Division II state semifinal between the Wall Hawks and the Gunner Tigers. It's not Gunner versus Canadian. It's not. And for Wall, last week against Canadian in a 49-3 romp, it sure seemed like they were telling folks that there's a new sheriff in town. That was a statement performance from the Hawks to win Region 1. And there's a lot to like about this ball club, man. Quarterback Landon York has been absolutely terrific. Wide receiver Reed Robertson is outstanding. And their defense, led by Ethan Mikhailowicz, has been really terrific all year long, and especially of late. The thing about Wall is that they have a ton of speed. They are going to be a team challenging for the 3A track title in the spring, and that is a really problematic thing to deal with on the football field. But Gunner has an outstanding track team of their own and an outstanding football team to go along with them as well. Quarterback Preston Tarpley has stepped in at the quarterback spot seamlessly. That offense is rolling. They have a just stable of running backs that they can turn to out of that pistol option offense. And oh yeah, that defense led by Luke Bullard has really stepped up and is starting to really play Gunner defense, right? They fly to the football. They get helmets to the football, maybe better than any team in Texas. And so what's interesting, I think we've seen Gunner Canadians so much, and what's interesting about that matchup is that both teams really have the book on each other. Wall and Gunner is a different kind of thing to deal with, because this Wall team, I think their speed can really challenge Gunner. And I think the way they're playing gives them a really good shot in this ball game. But it's hard to pick against the state champs. I think Gunner's your favorite. I think the Tigers return to AT&T Stadium. 7 o'clock Thursday night at Randall Reed Stadium in New Caney. It is a 3A Division II state semifinal between the Tidehaven Tigers and the Woodville Eagles, two teams that weren't supposed to be here, quite frankly, but kind of for different reasons. For Tidehaven, they weren't supposed to be here because they graduated so heavy. Remember, they played in the state championship game last year, but then Joseph Dodds, their star running back, is off to Baylor. They were supposed to take a step back. Not so. Back in a state semifinal because Jake and Duran, their running back, has stepped up in a big way. Quarterback Cale Russell, I think, has really emerged as a playmaker for them. And their defense, they're doing that thing where when they get in the playoffs, that defense hits another gear. It's almost as if David Lucio knows what he's doing. Weird. On the other side for Woodville, the reason they're not supposed to be here is because they've never done this before, right? They had never been to the third round, let alone the fourth round, let alone the fifth round there. But they have been absolutely terrific. And Tavian Hunter, you do not know that name, 5 touchdowns in the first half of their regional final win last week. They have been absolutely terrific offensively. That is going to be the real money matchup here, is that Woodville offense, which has been explosive and big play merchants, going up against Tidehaven, where the one thing they do is keep you from hitting big plays. That is what is so fascinating about this ball game. I think this is one of the toughest games to call of the week, quite frankly. I think the big game experience for Tidehaven, being here last year and doing what they did last year, gives them a little bit of an edge. This game is close and maybe the game of the weekend, but I think Tidehaven heads back to AT&T Stadium. 7 o'clock Thursday night at the Star in Frisco. It's a 3A Division I state semifinal between the Paradise Panthers and the Malakoff Tigers. And the state's longest winning streak rolls on for Malakoff, now 30 in a row. And what they did last week to Liberty Ilo is eye-opening, okay? That was one of the most explosive offenses in Texas high school football, and Malakoff went and shut them out. It was awfully impressive from them. Their defense has been absolutely terrific. And the guy at the helm of both sides of the ball is Mike Jones. Who? Mike Jones, who has been absolutely unbelievable, hit another level here. And offensively, defensively, he is their stud horse. You add in running back Jason Tennyson, who missed all of last year with injury, who feels like he's playing inspired football right now. Awfully impressive. Really, really impressive from Malakoff. If they're going to defend their crown, they will need to get past a really versatile Paradise team. This is a Paradise team that I think the defense takes center stage. Their defense has been strong all year long, but the guy to know here is Aiden Winters, a converted wide receiver they moved to quarterback, who is now like a dual threat dynamo back there, a guy who can absolutely take this ball game over. And it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see how this Malakoff defense attacks Winters, who has been so good, and this Paradise offense, which is rolling right now, looked awfully good in their regional final win last week. It's hard to pick against a 30-game winning streak, plain and simple, and I ain't going to do it. I think Malakoff is your favorite to go back to AT&T Stadium. I think the Tigers are heading back to Arlington. 7 o'clock Thursday night at Rice Stadium in Houston. It's a 3A Division I state semifinal between the Columbus Cardinals and the Edna Cowboys. This is a styles clash, and this is a classic Region 3 versus Region 4 matchup. If you're unfamiliar, in 3A Division I, Region 3 tends to be the speed region. It tends to be the region with the big-time athletes who can get out and run. They want to get to the edge and turn this into a track meet. And the Region 4 tends to be the power region, the bruising, just slugfest region where you better put on your big boy britches each and every week. And I think you've got two teams that embody their regions pretty well. For Edna, they're in their third straight state semifinal. Unbelievable what Jimmy Mitchell has been able to do there with the Cowboys, and it's a familiar formula, right? Offensive line's terrific. Defense is absolutely bruising, and they snap the ball to a superstar, Braylon Harris. He is that dude, man. He is a lot of fun to watch, and he is capable of taking over this ball game. Columbus has a ton of weaponry, and they really embody that Region 3 mentality of just get out and run. Okay, quarterback Adam Schobel is on another level right now, a Mr. Texas football finalist. You add in running back Grayson Rigdon, who had a huge game last week. Braylon Fisher, their star wide receiver, doesn't get enough love. This offense is absolutely humming at an exceptional level right now. I will say this about Columbus, though. I think their defense can be touched up. I think we've seen that a couple of times this year. It's going to be up to guys like John Schobel to lock down Braylon Harris and this Edna attack, because if Edna can slow down Columbus, suddenly we got a ball game if Edna can move the ball with Harris, because that big offensive line can help grind clock and shorten this ball game. I think this game is more interesting than maybe you think, because I think Edna's got the juice to hang with Columbus, but I think the weaponry for the Cardinals is too much. And I think Columbus moves on to their first ever state championship game. 7 o'clock Friday night at McKinney ISD Stadium. It is a 4A Division II state semifinal between the Brock Eagles and the Carthage Bulldogs. Did Brock score the most remarkable win of the regional finals last week? I think they did. Consider that in week 10, they played Graham in district play, and they got beat 38-0. They got launched into the sun. And 6 weeks later, they kept receipts and they beat Graham 12-10 in triple overtime. Just an unbelievable performance from Billy Mathis Ball Club. And while Brody Woods is the captain of that offense, this is a defense-first ball club. Asa Parenteau leading this Eagles defense. If you take out that 38-0 loss to Graham, which they've avenged, then they're giving up just under 9 points per game all year long. Absolutely terrific. That would be good enough to be second in 4A Division II in scoring defense. The problem is that the team they're playing this week is actually second in scoring defense in 4A Division II in the Carthage Bulldogs. And I mean, this defense is relentless for Scott Surratt's ball club. I mean, Clayton Ingram leads an unbelievable unit that just got done completely suffocating Van in the regional final. And then you add in the offense, right? Big offensive line. They're able to run the ball with KJ Edwards and Benny Smith. They're able to hit you over the top with Jet Surratt at the quarterback spot. And this Carthage machine looks like they're online. I will say this though, okay. So Scott Surratt, coach of Carthage, very famously 9-0 in state championship games. I will say that the state semifinals have been much more of a trouble spot for Carthage than the state championship game. In 4 of their last 5 state semifinal wins, they've been decided by 1 score. So historically, this is the time where maybe Carthage is a little bit vulnerable. But in the end, I'm just not sure how Brock can get past this Carthage defense, plain and simple. This Carthage defense playing an exceptionally high level. I think this game is really interesting. I think the Bulldogs are too much. I think Carthage is heading back to Arlington. 7 o'clock Friday night at Georgetown ISD Stadium. It is a 4A Division II state semifinal between the Waco La Vega Pirates and the Wimberley Texans. And for my money, This is a matchup of the two most underrated coaches in Texas high school football. Doug Warren at Wimberley and Don Hyde at La Vega are unbelievable what they do, and I don't think they get anywhere near their due. They very quietly have put together absolute monster programs, and they will collide here in what should be a fascinating chess match. And if you like star power, this game has got it, because both these teams are loaded with playmakers. You look at La Vega and it's Bryson Rowland. The running back has been on another planet right now and absolutely unstoppable. The offensive line is grinding, and that classic La Vega defense under Don Hyde is really starting to round into form, and that is going to be really dangerous. On the Wimberley side, it's Cody Stover, and he just did it again last week. 5 total touchdowns, more than 400 yards of total offense, an absolute animal back there, and an opportunity to send his Texans back to AT&T Stadium with another big performance. So this ultimately comes down to, in my mind, who can slow down the Stars. Can Wimberley's defense bottle up Bryson Rowland? Can La Vega find an answer to Cody Stover? It's a fascinating ball game. I think this is a coin flip, plain and simple, and I have agonized over this pick. In the end, I'm going to go with the team with the senior quarterback there in Cody Stover, who has the experience, the 3-year starter. I think that's the difference. I think Wimberley is heading for AT&T Stadium. 7 o'clock Friday night at Shotwell Stadium in Abilene. It is a 4A Division I state semifinal between the Canyon West Plains Wolves and the Salina Bobcats. West Plains coming off of one of the all-time Texas high school football pedigree upsets. When you consider that West Plains, in their 3rd varsity season, knocked off Stephenville, one of the all-time most decorated Texas high school football programs, in the regional final. Absolutely remarkable. Quarterback Reed Macon was great. Running back Slade Russell. The offense was humming. They came up with the plays when they needed it most. They won on the margins, and it was a signature win for this young program. Can they pull off the all-time pedigree double dip and knock off Salina, one of the other most decorated programs in Texas high school football history? And this Salina team has been terrific. Quarterback Bo Bentley, what a player. What a player. The offensive line's great. They run the ball well. Logan Gutierrez and Harrison Williams. Their defense has been mostly good, but that's the point I want to bring up here, because I think Salina's your deserving favorite. They've looked largely invincible for the majority of the year, but the last 2 weeks, Salina has allowed 870 yards passing, and Reed Macon's coming to town. I think there is a path here for West Plains, and it's coming through a shootout. I think you got to get this game into the 40s, get this thing into a scoring contest. But in the end, I don't think Salina lets it get there. I think the defense makes the plays necessary. I think this game is more interesting than the pedigree disparity may show you, but I think Salina's your favorite. I think the Bobcats are heading for Arlington. 7 o'clock Friday night at Randall Reed Stadium in New Caney. It is a 4A Division I state semifinal between the Kilgore Bulldogs and the Lavernia Bears. Lavernia on the short list of teams that can actually claim that Tepper didn't believe in them. I picked against them in the area round against LBJ, and I picked against them again last week against Bay City in a district rematch, but they went and avenged their district loss, and a remarkable performance from them. And while a lot of the attention is going to be paid to the running game with Sean Garza and Keegan Hayek, I think that the difference in this Lavernia team, what has really stepped up for them, has been the defense, which has really turned the corner, and they are playing exceptional right now. And they are now going to get an opportunity to face off against Kilgore, who mowed through Region 3 in impressive fashion. The Ragin' Red looking every bit the part of a state championship contender, and it is because of a nasty front seven defensively, led by Wiley Mitchell. This front is tremendous, and that is the money matchup here, okay? Can Lavernia run the ball against this Kilgore front? That's it. Because I'm not sure Lavernia has a great plan B if the running game doesn't get going. The other question I have for Lavernia is, can they contain Jaden Sanders, the Michigan signee, who's got big play potential every time he touches the ball? Lavernia's going to love this because I'm picking against them again. But I think Kilgore's defensive front is the difference in this ball game. I think it's really close, but I think Kilgore gets the win. 7 o'clock Friday night at Ford Stadium on the campus of SMU in Dallas. It is a 5A Division II state semifinal between the Argyle Eagles and the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears. It's the rematch of that 2022 state semifinal, the Fog Bowl. And there's no fog in the forecast on Friday night, but I think we're going to have a fantastic ball game nonetheless. South Oak Cliff coming off of what can only be described as a truly remarkable win over Port Neches Groves. I mean, they flattened the Indians. They crushed them into a fine paste. They were up 14-0 90 seconds into the ball game, and it was church. Okay, what South Oak Cliff is doing right now is pretty terrific. Okay, quarterback Carter Kopecky has really added another element to this offense, and then you add in, of course, that terrific running game with Mikhail Trotter, that big offensive line. But the reason they beat South Oak Cliff as soundly as they did last week was the defense, led by Kamarian Morgan, that big, ferocious defensive front, which now gets another challenge against another one of the very best offensive lines in Texas, in Argyle. This Eagles offensive front is not to be trifled with. They keep their quarterback, McGuire Gasperson, very clean. He has been terrific all year long. They're able to run the ball with West and Bell. They can do a little bit of everything. A lot of this game for me comes down to the Argyle defense, which looked absolutely sensational last week against Lovejoy, shutting them down. Can they put together another sensational performance? And can South Oak Cliff reload emotionally? Okay, last week against Port Neches Groves, that was a big emotional victory that they had circled for months. They have got to reload again against a team that is absolutely good enough to beat them. I think this is a fascinating ball game, and that first quarter is going to be very telling. But I think South Oak Cliff's weaponry is a little bit too much, and I think the Golden Bears are heading back to Arlington. 7 o'clock Friday night at McLean Stadium on the campus of Baylor in Waco. It is a 5A Division II state semifinal between the Richmond Randall Lions and the Bernie Greyhounds. A lot to talk about in this ball game after Bernie's sensational high-flying win over Corpus Christi Miller 65-50, while Richmond Randall is coming off of a gutty overtime performance against a very game district foe in Iowa Colony. But for all we have to talk about, this is the game that I think has the single best strength-on-strength matchup in the state this week, which is the Bernie offense led by quarterback Hank Hendricks going up against this outstanding Randall defense led by Chase Sims. That's the money matchup. Every time Bernie has the ball, it is going to be box office. Fantastic stuff. I want to see who wins that chess match, because this Bernie attack can beat you in a variety of different ways. And this Randall defense is the only defense in Texas that has not allowed more than 14 points in a game this year. Okay, absolutely sensational. The other side of the ball, though, is where I think Randall has an advantage, because Landon Williams-Callis, their star running back, has been bottled up the past couple of weeks. I think he's ready for a breakout performance. This Bernie defense has had some struggles stopping the run. It's going to be critical for them to come up with big-time stops and go stop for stop with this Randall defense. This is a fascinating matchup, and that strength-on-strength matchup is worth the price of admission. But I think Randall is your favorite. I think the Lions clinch their first ever state championship trip. 7 o'clock Friday night at the Star in Frisco. It is a 5A Division I state semifinal between the Denton Ryan Raiders and the Highland Park Scots. You know, for Texas high school football fans of a bygone era, this is a familiar matchup, because these two teams met up 4 times over the course of 2016 to 2020, with Highland Park largely getting the better of Denton Ryan. But this is a new era, and this game is happening because Denton Ryan did the thing. They actually did it. They went out there and they knocked off Aledo, long earmarked as the team that could end the reign of Aledo in 5A Division I. They did it. They went out there and they did it by playing 48 minutes of Ryan football, okay? Defense was fantastic and held them in the ball game. Quarterback Quinn Hennigan came up with big throws. Nemo Warmate ran the ball well behind that big offensive line. It was just a clinic from Ryan of Ryan football. Their reward now is a date with Highland Park, and this is a Highland Park team that is not star-studded. They don't have these big-time prospects, although I think their sophomore quarterback, Buck Randall, he might have that dog in him. I'm a big fan of Buck Randall, but they block well, and they tackle well, and they do not make mistakes, and they pounce on your mistakes. That is what Highland Park does, and they are a classic, greater than the sum of their parts team in this one. And so a lot of this game, I think, comes down to mistakes. Okay? Can Ryan force Highland Park into mistakes? Can Highland Park pounce on Ryan's mistakes? That's the real question in this one. The other thing about this game, I think both of these teams need to play from ahead. I think both of these teams are built to play from ahead, and so who can throw that first punch in the first quarter? I think we'll learn a lot about the way this game is going to go in the first 10 minutes of the ball game. So this game is a fascinating ball game. I think I lean towards Highland Park. I think that they're able to come up with the plays to get to AT&T Stadium. Give me the Scots. 2:30 p.m. Saturday afternoon at McLean Stadium in Waco. It's a 5A Division I state semifinal between the Angleton Wildcats and the Smithson Valley Rangers, and a message to Angleton. I am sorry. I was wrong. Angleton is a team that I have picked against in every round of the playoffs. By district, area, regional semifinals, regional finals. I picked against them 4 times, 4 L's, 4 big plates of crow from me. Okay? They have proven me so wrong, so embarrassingly wrong every step of the way, including last week when they knocked off district rival LaPorte and avenged their only loss of the season. And they did it by a terrific defensive performance, a running game with Jamarcus Shockley, and they were able to come up with big time plays down the stretch. Their sophomore wide receiver, Wesley Jackson, was nails when they needed him the most. They're taking on a Smithson Valley team looking to make it back to AT&T Stadium, and quarterback Cade Spradling has been absolutely terrific. He's been a lot of fun to watch. That running game, that big offensive line is grinding, and their defense is playing spectacular right now. I think Angleton really needs to play a clean game in this ball game, because Smithson Valley is one of those programs that when you give them an inch, they will take a mile. But I am done doubting Angleton. I'm done. I've learned my lesson. It took me a month, but I've learned my lesson. I think Angleton's going to play for a state championship. 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon at Ford Stadium in Dallas. It is a 6A Division II state semifinal between the Southlake Carroll Dragons and the Longview Lobos. If you're somebody in Texas high school football who likes to see just like big brand names going at it, I mean, this is as good as it gets. I mean, Longview versus Southlake Carroll, what more do you want? And these are two teams that I think can claim they weren't supposed to be here, right? That people doubted them. For Southlake Carroll, it's not that they weren't good, it's just that they're really banged up right now. They're on a running back number 3 right now with Davis Penn and Riley Wormley done for the year. But quarterback Angelo Renda has stepped up in a big way, and last week against Denton Geyer, you saw that dragon mentality of pouncing on your mistakes. They came up with huge plays on defense and in special teams to push them over the top. They now draw Longview out of East Texas, who knocked off DeSoto in emphatic fashion to dethrone the Eagles. And it was remarkable what they were able to do, okay? The defense played nearly flawlessly, and running back Boosie Washington, nearly 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. I think he's the most dangerous player in Texas right now. Like, he's unstoppable. He is on an unthinkable heater right now. And they just lined up in 21 personnel and just ran the dang ball. And they did it at will. It was truly a sight to behold. So this game is fascinating because I think both these teams feel like they're going to be able to move the ball on the other. Angelo Renda has been absolutely terrific for Southlake Carroll. This game is going to come down to who gives the other team a short field, like once or twice. This game comes down to turnovers, and this game comes down to mistakes. I wonder if the injuries are going to catch up to Southlake Carroll. That's one question I have in this one. And I wonder, can Southlake Carroll slow down Boosie Washington enough? This is box office stuff, one of the toughest games to call this week. But if you beat the man, that makes you the man. Longview's got the crown right now. I think the Lobos make it back to AT&T Stadium. 7 o'clock Saturday night at McLean Stadium in Waco. It is a 6A Division II state semifinal between the Humble Summer Creek Bulldogs and the Vandegrift Vipers. And it's Houston versus Austin. It's the final game of the weekend. We will punch our 24th and final ticket to AT&T Stadium there in Waco. And you've got two teams that I think believe that they are teams of destiny, and for good reason, right? For Summer Creek, they survived the toughest district in Texas high school football, District 23 6A, including beating district rival Kingwood like a drum for the second time last week. And they've got that dude at quarterback. Blake Thomas is playing out of his mind right now. He is an unbelievable playmaker right now for this Bulldog squad. For Vandegrift, they lost week 2 to Cedar Park, and since then they have been unbeatable. And quarterback Miles Teodecki has stepped up in a huge way, and that Vandegrift defense, in classic Vandegrift style, is really playing its best football at the right time. They are looking absolutely terrific defensively. The difference in this ball game, which can be a little bit too close to call, I look at the defense for Summer Creek, especially that defensive front led by Chad Woodfork. I think that's the difference. I think they're able to get some pressure. I think they're able to come up with stops. I think they're able to get them back to AT&T Stadium. I think this game is really close. I think the Bulldogs go back to the title game. 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon at Eagle Stadium in Allen. It is a 6A Division I state semifinal between the North Crowley Panthers and the Duncanville Panthers, and it is Judgment Day in 6A in DFW. These are the 2 best teams in 6A in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. It is the best team in Fort Worth, North Crowley, and it's the best team in Dallas, in Duncanville, and they are colliding for a second consecutive year. You may remember that last year these 2 teams met here, and Duncanville had their way with North Crowley. Absolutely clobbered North Crowley, and there's reason to believe that this game will be different. Duncanville has not been impenetrable, right? The past couple of weeks, they've gotten into some dog fights, but in the end, they have an Alabama signee at quarterback in Keelan Russell, a Mr. Texas football finalist, and an Oregon signee out wide in Decorian Moore, and that's a neat trick if you can do it. Plus, they've got an outstanding defense per usual under Coach Reginald Samples. They are the team to beat in DFW, hard stop, and arguably the team to beat in Class 6A. That's just the fact of the matter. North Crowley feels like they have fixed a lot of the things that went wrong for them last year. They're better on the offensive line, and the weaponry they've got is really remarkable, whether it's Quentin Gibson, also a Mr. Texas football finalist, Chris Jemerson, Daniel Bray, Cornelius Warren. They have got dudes all over the field that can test this Duncanville defense. The other thing is, can they get the ball, can they get running, right? Because this is a matchup last year, if you remember, that Duncanville was able to run the ball essentially at will, and North Crowley was not able to run the ball at all, and that was essentially the ball game. How much has changed there? Look, if you're trying to dethrone a 2-time state champ, the onus is on you to answer the questions, okay? Can North Crowley run the ball? Can North Crowley contain Decorian Moore, right? Can North Crowley come up with a couple of turnovers? Can they pressure Keelan Russell? They have to answer at least 3 of those 4 questions in the affirmative to win this ball game. I think they're going to do it. I've been on the North Crowley bandwagon for quite a while. I ain't hopping off at the key moment. I think North Crowley's going to do it. I like North Crowley to make it to AT&T Stadium. And 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon at Legacy Stadium in Katy, it is a 6A Division I state semifinal between the Northshore Mustangs and the Westlake Chaparrals. 4th meeting in the last 5 seasons in the state semifinals for these 2 ball clubs. They have known each other very, very well. And for these 2 teams, they each had to beat a district rival in the regional finals to get here. For Northshore, they beat Atascocita for the 10th consecutive time, and I think this was their best performance of the season. Absolutely terrific. They unleashed Caleb Bailey as a runner. He was absolutely terrific, plus threw a couple of touchdowns. He's got big-time playmakers like Qualnao Farrakhan and Dion DeBlanc out wide. He's got DeAndre Hardham in the backfield, a terrific offensive line. They looked like they were in full bloom last week. Westlake went and beat rival Lake Travis in a real workmanlike effort once again. And look, Reese Wise came up with big plays at the quarterback spot when they needed him most. And that defense, man, Elliott Shaper, their linebacker, I think he might be my favorite player in the state right now. I mean, this dude is awesome. He is exceptional, a tremendous Texas high school football player, and a guy who your eye is drawn to whenever he's on the field. I love Elliott Shaper at the linebacker spot for Westlake. The difference in this ball game for me is the North Shore defense, which has been elite. Plain and simple. Guys like Devin Sanchez, Nigel Pringle, that big front, they have been terrific all year long. This feels like the 2018 North Shore defense, a vintage North Shore defense. I think Westlake's defense is going to be able to hold them in it, but I'm not sure they've got the firepower to get past this North Shore defense themselves. I think this game is low scoring and a lot of fun, but I think the Mustangs are heading back to AT&T Stadium. And those are the picks. That's all 20 UIL Texas High School Football State Semifinal games. So now you can let me know gently in the comments, what am I wrong about? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of the 2024 Texas High School Football State Championship games at texasfootball.com/state. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the Texas High School Football State Semifinals. We'll see you.
There it is, the picks. A very brief look at the state semifinals this week.
You never stop yapping.
That was under 40 minutes.
It was 39 minutes and 32 seconds.
But okay, yes or no? Under 40 minutes. I'm just saying.
Shouldn't count.
Now 40 minutes, that would be excessive.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. But luckily, we were able to keep it under that because, again, a very brief look. But if you think, I mean, honestly, okay, you're going to yell at me, and VNA's going to yell at me. She's going to burst in these doors and be like, shut up. Because she's the one who edits
down
it, if you don't know.
the door like Big Bird.
But the thing about it is, it's basically 2 minutes per game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. If you're going to do it right. That's what I mean. And they're all good games. I don't think... Let me ask you a question, and we'll get into Mailbag here. If you got questions, get them in the comments, Facebook and YouTube. But I'll start with a question for you, Ashley Pickle. Mm-hmm. Of these 20 games, how many do you think are like mismatches? Like, how many do you think like there's a clear favorite?
3.
I think I'm at 2 or 3.
2 or 3, yeah.
There's a couple that I think are like, that team looks like they're going to be... Like, it would be... Respectfully to Hamilton, it would be pretty shocking if they beat Stanford.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the thing about it is there are a handful of teams that we did not expect to be here, and so it's really easy to just kind of ride those off of like, oh, okay, they're playing the big dog that we expected to be here, but like, they're here for a reason.
Like
and
Joaquin.
we haven't picked them once
like
in the playoffs, and yet they're 5 rounds deep playing again.
You're exactly right. Like Angleton is a perfect example. That's why I picked Angleton. And then another example is I just lost it. Okay, Joaquin. 4th place team, right? 4th place Joaquin. I think they're pretty clear underdogs this week. But they've also like made us look silly.
Yeah,
a lot.
And then there are certain games too that I think both teams are really good and that they were supposed to be here, but one team is just playing on a whole other level right now. Like I think if you look at Brock and Carthage, like I feel like those are 2 really, really good teams, but Carthage is scary right now. And it's like that's a great game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was lopsided. Yeah,
that's the thing, because I think I think that one.
I'm even shocked that Longview's there, and it's nothing to do with Longview. It's just the fact that no one expected DeSoto to not be here.
Yeah, exactly. It's the teams they beat, like Ryan. Ryan's another example. They beat Alito, and you're like, oh, yeah. Or even Bremont, right? Just because Mart has won that region since time immemorial. Yep. Or even Wall. A lot of us liked Wall coming into the playoffs, but
you had to get past Canadian.
And it's like this is their time of year. This is what they do. So it's a really interesting slate of games. And what I love about this particular set of semifinals is you've got like, there's a little something for everybody. You've got headline matchups of like pedigree programs that like, if you are even vaguely aware of Texas high school football, you should be excited about Northshore Westlake. You should be excited about Longview South Lake Carroll. Like what I would call like helmet games where you put up the graphic of the 2 helmets are next to each other and you're like, oh, that's going to rock. You've also got like surprises, and you've also got, I think, like hipster games. Do you know what I mean? Like hipster games where it's like I'm super into, it's the second time I want to reference it. I'm super into the Bremont game. I'm super into Bremont Shiner. I think that's really interesting. I'm super into Woodville Tidehaven. Yep. Super into it. But that would be, it's hard for me to convince somebody who's not really super locked into high school football. It's like, hey, actually, Woodville Tidehaven's going to rock tonight in New Caney. They'll be like, what? So, I don't know. I love this slate of games. I love the board. It's good stuff. Anyway, a brief look at the picks. Let's do some mailbag. Let's answer some questions.
If you could only go to one state game next week, which one would you go to?
So that's hard to say because we don't know the matchups yet. But based on... So let's just assume... Okay.
Based off of who we picked.
let's just assume that I go 20 for 20.
Mm-hmm.
I won't. I would love to go.
I did last year.
I would
did.
love to go 15 and 5. Love to go 15 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I go 20 for 20. I think the game I'm most excited about is Kilgore Salina.
Really? I wouldn't put that one. That's interesting.
Do you know why?
Mm-hmm.
The scene there is going to be outrageous.
Yeah.
Because the crowd for
Salina
that
would bring a
3
huge
o'clock
crowd.
and Kilgore,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be orange and red. Oh my gosh. I think that one. And then obviously I'm really super interested in North Crowley Northshore. Like, if we get North Crowley Northshore fired up, the firepower on display there.
Mine would be if we could see Munster and Shiner play each other. That rocks.
By the way, Craig and I are on the call of 282.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And then the other one for me would be if we could see Columbus and Malakoff play each other.
Craig and I are on the call on that one too.
Those would be really fun.
Yeah, that'd be really good. I mean, Adam Schobel versus Mike Jones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is box office stuff.
I'm into that.
Box office stuff.
All right, what's next?
What is your number one bucket? Wait, no, hang on. We'll save that one. Scratch. Name a dream Texas high school football matchup that you would love to see that has never happened.
Oh, that's never happened. I mean, the classic one, and it's lost a little bit of its luster, but like for years and years, we just wanted Katie and Allen. Mm-hmm. Like for years and years, we just wanted the two preeminent programs there to size up with one another. That game would be really interesting still, but it's lost a little bit of its luster. I believe actually what's funny, Longview South Lake Carroll, I believe is the first time they're meeting.
That's wild.
I think because like Longview's bounced around to 5A,
Yeah.
and Carroll's they've just never lined up.
Yeah.
I believe that's the first time. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to be like real hipstery here too.
Never in a million lifetimes did I think Carthage was going to play San Benito, but here we are.
That happened. Yeah, exactly. And just the weirdo game of the year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you start thinking about like pedigree type stuff, and like I would love to see like I don't know if we've ever had I might sound super dumb when I say this in hindsight, but Stephenville and Salina is like, again, we almost had it this week.
Yeah.
But West Plains had to go and crash the party.
Yeah, like a Brownwood Salina would be cool too.
I think what you want is the best programs from different areas teeing off against one another.
Yeah.
Right? I would love to see like, you'd have to make it like a pound for pound type thing, but like I would love to see like a team like, like a Duncanville take on like a team like Westlake. Like something like that. Those are the types of matchups, and again, like a great coaching matchup there. Those would be the ones that I think I'd like to see. I would like to see it. So yeah, Stephenville beat Salina last year 6-0. Okay, so there you go. See, told you I was going to be. But again, I'm thinking like pedigree and like big time programs that I'd like to see square up. What's next, Pickle?
Got a couple more here. Do you have any advice for anyone attending state for the first time next week? Enjoy it.
Yes.
Go. Like the biggest advice that we can give you is go. If you've never been, pull the trigger and go this year.
That's a Texas high school football, it should be on your sports bucket list, is to go to the state championships. I would say the best day, the day that I most look forward to, is Friday. Yeah. I think that's 4A and then 5A D2. That's when the crowd's really going to start to swell. And it's really going to get big. And then Saturday is obviously great. It's 5A the last day, and 5A D1 and then 6A. Those are great, obviously. But I love sometimes that can be a little unwieldy. It's like there's a huge crowd. But I think Fridays, like, go to it. If you're going to pull the triple, and this is straight up cribbed from Matt Stepp's State Survival Guide. If you're going to do the triple in all three games, which, by the way, one ticket gets you in for all three games. It's the cheapest you're ever getting in that barn, too. You should eat a big breakfast.
Yes.
Okay? Eat a good breakfast. Go to Waffle House. Go somewhere. Eat a good breakfast. Denny's. Like, load up. I believe you can bring an empty water bottle in that you can fill up for free. I think you can. Double check that on the AT&T Stadium website. But if not, buy like a large drink and then you can refill it at water stations and stuff. That's key. If you want to, I would say that generally speaking, if you're not rooting for a team, you want to be in the I guess the main concourse, not the lower bowl. Leave the lower bowl for the fans with rooting interest. If you want to hang out with coaches, they'll all be sitting in the end zone. All the coaches, you're just going to see like dotted like across there, like these like just dudes sitting like in pairs or dudes sitting by themselves. Those are all coaches. So if you want to go sightseeing, you can see those guys. And yeah, you'll probably need to eat. If you do it right and you eat the big breakfast, you can only eat once there, right? You can get the Super Bowl nachos. The barbecue on Saturday is actually really good. So consider that. Is there anything else? What am I missing? That's about it.
I think it's a cool time to be able to, if you usually only go to big school games, it's cool to go see the small school games. Like if you only go to small school games, like go on Saturday and see the chaos of what it's like to see some of the biggest programs play. But do something like if you don't have a rooting interest, go do something that you don't usually do.
Yes, if you have the means, if you can, and I realize Wednesday's a work day and school day for a lot of people. If you can get out to the 6-man title games, it's one of the wildest like scenes because like these guys played at like Robinson last week, right? They played at Robinson and now they're playing at AT&T Stadium. Like Oakwood and Jayton have a combined population of less than 1,000. Okay, and there will be probably 4,000 to 5,000 people at the game. It just doesn't make any sense. But it's awesome. And again, like especially if you're like in a major metro area, if you're in the DFW Metroplex, you're in Houston, if you're not somewhere where there's a lot of 6-man football and you want to see it, and you want to see it played at an extremely high level, this is a great opportunity to do it. All the games are on TV, by the way. They're on FanDuel Sports Network Southwest, which is formerly Bally Sports Southwest, which is formerly Fox Sports Southwest. And yeah, so all the games, you can watch those games televised as well. Yeah, okay, that's it.
All right, last one, super quick.
Okay.
What is your number one bucket list concert that you have not seen?
I think people know this about me. Maybe they don't. My all-time favorite band is Ben Folds 5. I've never seen Ben Folds 5. I've seen Ben Folds perform a couple of times, and he's been great, but I've never seen him with like a backing band. So I'd love to see Robert Sledge and those boys get back together with Ben Folds. That's one. You go to a lot of concerts.
Yeah. The big holes in my resume that I would like to fill, there's 3 of them. I really want to see George Strait. I still haven't done that.
I'm not even like a huge country guy.
But you
I'm
gotta go.
I want to go see the King.
Yeah. Chris Stapleton is another hole. And then this one's not a country one, but I haven't seen the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and that is shocking because I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I feel like that's one that, like, again, needs to happen. I could go on for days about that, but
yeah, I just don't go to a ton of concerts, and so I think I'm probably the wrong person to ask.
I'm going to AC/DC in April. The whole Pickle family. It'll be the first time we go as a full family.
Okay.
AC/DC was my first concert.
I will say I think one of the I would say that on a concert bucket list would be like I want to go to go to Red Rocks.
It's awesome. I saw one of my favorite bands, the Dirty Heads, play there, and it was best concert I've probably the best concert I've ever been to.
If I could craft my own, like create your own, perfect concert, I probably want to see Trampled by Turtles at Red Rocks. And they've played there before, and it's like, but
yeah.
And by the way, one of the things that you can always bank on, every great concert happens on a Friday in the fall. Every great
100%.
Every great concert.
100%.
You remember last year, or maybe 2 years ago, time has no meaning, where like Michael Bublé came to town and I wanted to get my wife tickets, but it was a Friday night. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to surprise her with is we're going to fly to San Antonio the next day and went to his concert there, which is great. But like, that's, yeah. I also want to see Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, I made that up.
A lot of people said her concert was good.
Okay, that's it. That's all of it.
Yeah.
You excited?
I am. Yeah, ready for another weekend.
We're going to be up here working all weekend. Sunday, we're coming up here. We're having a work day, so we'll be around. And then, of course, you can watch 3 state semifinal games on Texan Live. You can watch Westlake and Northshore on FanDuel Sports Southwest with Craig Way and I and CT Steckel on the call. And then, our goal is Sunday evening to unleash the Kraken, to unleash the state championship hub. That's our goal. A lot to do. 12 games. A lot of elements, but that's our goal. So we got a really, really big week of coverage planned for you guys next week for State Week. We will have a show on Monday talking football and getting excited. But that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Craig White, the Texas High School Hall of Famer, for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you Monday for State Week on Texas Football Today.